going now to chapter 2, curse of forgiveness. So yeah, that part was in the second part. So
right, yeah. So he knew what was coming. After that speech, he was just looking around and he was looking at Belisarius like something's actually is about to go down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely like the blood gore wise, I freaking loved it on both movies. But but also I was expecting a lot more heavier, but visually it was beautiful. It wasn't like grotesque like Dawn of the Dead type like zombie.
Right.
No, it was visually beautiful when you're getting shot, boom, and your head explodes, whatever. It was visually stunning to me.
Yeah.
Because that's what Zach is. He to Zach is always about the shot, the look nice and cool. It's not just about like all the gore and all that. It has to aesthetically line up with the story and the aesthetic. And I think he nailed it with that.
Well, what is cinema, guys? Moving photography.
And with his Frankenstein lenses also.
There you go. That's what cinema is. It's moving photography. People seem to forget that there's a reason why the word cinema exists in cinema. When they talk about, oh, he's all style, no substance, he's this, he's that. That is the essence of what cinema is. It's visual. It's a spectacle. That's what you're paying your money to see. Yeah, your dialogue anchors your plots, and your plots attached to whatever your arcs need to be, but you're going to see this play out on the screen. You know what I mean? If not, you can just listen to the dialogue on the radio.
Now, also, when it comes to the sex scene on part 2, honestly, in a way, I'm kind of grateful there was sex. Not because, okay, I'm a guy that I like women. No, it's because it's part also of movies. It's part of our nature. We as human beings have sex. So why have we been prohibited of seeing it as part of the story?
Charles, are you okay, buddy?
What? Did I say something?
It's gotta serve the story, man. It doesn't matter if
it's
sex or whatever, dude. It's got to be attached to the story.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm glad it happened because
yeah,
it's not forced. That's what I'm trying to say. It wasn't forced.
Yeah.
And when Zach says, "Oh, Paul Verhoeven type style," in my opinion, I don't think it was Paul Verhoeven at all. I think it was just Zack Snyder.
Exactly,
because
I agree with
Paul
that part.
Verhoeven was more raw.
Paul Verhoeven was more raw when it came to gore. Zach is like Paul Verhoeven is an over the top gore-ish kind of director, whereas with Zack Snyder, it's like you guys were saying, he makes everything beautiful, even the gore. There was an elegance to the gore. So, even to have an elegance to the gore, that's a hell of a thing to say. That's a hell of a thing to even, to even look at, like when you're looking at gore, and to say this man is such a great director that he gives elegance to gore. That's pretty crazy. I mean, ultimately, yeah. So, yeah, no, I think what he meant when he said about Paul Verhoeven-esque is just the level of violence, the level of depravity of the villains and stuff. Like there's things that they do that a lot of the villains on the mothership did that was very much like the way, Paul Verhoeven's villains tend to act. So it had a Paul Verhoeven aesthetic as far as some of that stuff goes. But yeah, the gore itself, I agree completely. And elegance, that is just pure Zack Snyder.
You know what? When it comes to the sex scene, though, and I can't comment on the second movie because, again, I haven't seen it yet. But here's what it was for me. It was more so about my own expectations and what I thought I was going to see versus what we actually got. So what I was expecting, what I thought we were going to see, I would almost say what I was expecting was like Neo sex scene, that very similar style from Matrix Part 2, where that's what I was expecting. Yeah. I was not expecting it to be as vivid as it was, to show as much as it did. Like even the detail on Cora's body, you can see all the scars
Scars,
down her
yeah.
back and along.
Oh yeah,
her
that was
spine.
all
That-
deliberate, clearly, yes.
Right, like, and again, it comes back to maybe just my own expectations of what I thought we were going to get versus what we actually got, which was just a little bit more hardcore than I thought. Like I said, I was watching it with my wife right next to me, and she even turns to me and she's like, "What kind of movie did you put on?" I said, "We already watched this movie. This is a director's cut." So yeah, I think that's kind of what it was for me personally. It was just what I expected versus what I got. I had a certain expectation. I was comparing it to like a similar genre type film, and yeah, don't set your expectations like that. when
Yeah,
it comes
never
to
set your
that.
expectations. For me, it was all about context, to show you the difference between the difference in the relationships and the difference in the dynamic, the difference between the relationship she had with the first guy and then what she had later on with Gunnar, being more tender, being more romantic, being more passionate and loving and caring. And yeah, again, very Seven Samurai inspired, very much that whole dynamic being played out. For me, I absolutely loved the director's cuts. I thought they were great, and I really wish that, we would have just got the director's cuts
From the get-go.
straight away,
Yeah.
and so that we wouldn't have to make these comparisons. Because I will say this, with Rebel Moon, these movies are clearly these director's cuts are clearly Zack Snyder unleashed. So you're not going to, with these movies, you're not going to win over anybody. If people didn't like the Netflix versions, they're not going to like these versions just because they're more, they're hardcore or whatever. They're not. But us as Snyder fans are going to love these because we're
going to eat it all over, yeah.
Because we're used to what Snyder does, and we're supporting his unleashed vision and stuff. So it's kind of like you're, in a way, you're kind of hurting yourself in a way by having these competing visions, even though they're the same. It's the same director. So I would hope that in the future they would just do the director's cuts and not even have to make separate versions. But I understand from a business perspective why they did that, but still.
So here's my question I want to ask everybody then. Do you guys think that we could ever get a Zack Snyder DC project on this level? Or do you think this is too much? Do you think that with this amount of sex, this amount of gore, this amount of violence, do you think that is too much for the DC brand? Or do you think it is possible to one day actually get this level in a DC story?
Look at how depraved James Gunn is. James Gunn's not.
Exactly.
Movie with James Gunn with the Suicide Squad. So
I think you can get it with you can't. I don't think you're gonna get that out of a Superman, a Batman, a Wonder Woman. But can you get it out of those same characters in an Elseworld story, like say Deceased or something like that? Yeah, absolutely, because those books are written that way specifically to be that dark. So as long as the studio lets them do their thing and they follow the source material, yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
Now, as far as turning the Justice League into that, I don't know if they'll go that deep into it, but yeah. Now,
there's one thing I wanted to switch in before we wrap this up, guys. This is pathetic.
That was released 3 minutes after the movie dropped.
Yeah.
Which means it's bull crap.
Actually, let me do an even better one for you. Look at right there. This was released at midnight. So this was planned.
Mm-hmm.
Again.
Oh yeah. That was a scheduled tweet.
Yeah.
It's a scheduled tweet. Hit piece again against a man.
Right. These people didn't even watch the movie.
And I promise you, they did not get a fucking screener to watch.
No
fucking way.
No,
So
they didn't.
this is what we
Not
as
Collider,
fans-
anyways.
No, hell no. This is what we have to unfortunately keep dealing with because this man, Zack Snyder, is so much, he is winning so much. And the hate against this man is just unfreaking believable.
Yes, it
But
is.
James Gunn, he gets all the love in it. That no, James Gunn is the Messiah. James Gunn is saving DC. James Gunn this, James Gunn. But Zack Snyder, no, he's a hack. No, Zack Snyder's movie just got worse with the director's cut. No, why would you watch that bullshit crap? No, fuck you, Collider.
All right.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, like this, but also in a way, I'm kind of happy that this is happening because the internet is much. Yes, there are a lot of people like general audiences out there that they'll take this at face value, but that's why we, as a podcast, are also calling out crap like this because we can see it a mile away. Like, and I think I saw already. I lost the screen now, but whatever. Rotten Tomatoes. Guess where the score was for the director's cut? Just take a wild guess. Just guess.
Oh, they probably.
Well, it's not good.
Like probably like
13%.
30%, 30% probably.
30 and 40%.
Somewhere around there.
This is what happens when they don't get their $50. That's what it comes down to. When they don't get paid, they don't give you a good score.
Nope.
Yeah. Yep. All right.
Like honestly,
Well,
can anybody honestly here say that movie like was a 30%? Like, come on, let's be real here. That is just a disgusting score to be giving out. 30%.
Well, it's not real. See, this is why I don't take stock into this. I've stopped watching this crap. I don't pay attention to who's scoring. I don't pay attention to Collider. I've stopped doing that because I find that giving them oxygen is what the problem is. So I don't even pay attention to that anymore. I didn't look up Rotten Tomatoes when Rotten Tomatoes dropped it. I didn't look up Collider until I actually saw it on my feed and somebody posted about it. So right. I mean, I don't even go looking, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? I enjoy what I enjoy,
right
and I'm done.
The internet isn't real. Period.
Yeah, it's not real, man.
We're real. We are real because we watch it. We're talking about it. We're reviewing it. We're spoiling it. And yeah, there are things that some of us like, other things we don't. But that's okay. That's part of the conversation.
Yeah.
This is geek pop culture. We're going to talk about these movies for God knows how long. Just like we've been talking about ZSJL in the Cyberverse for 11 years already. Yeah. You know, this man does fucking great movies. It's art. That's what it is. Yep. It's art. You know?
And the funny thing is like when you look at how genius this is, look at how long Rebel Moon has been in the conversation. Like,
right,
because of the director's cuts, because of the way this was planned out, Rebel Moon has now been in the conversation for how many? What is it, like at least a couple years now? You know, whereas every other movie that goes to theater nowadays, they just fizzle and pop. They come, they go, and nobody talks about them.
Well, with that being said, I take it back. Then I think they should just keep doing it this way because this strategy has worked.
It does work
because it keeps people talking. So release all the cuts you want. Hell, release a third cut at some point, the ultimate cut of Rebel Moon.
I heard that there was stuff that he did actually take out of his cut.
Yeah,
like you were referencing that there was stuff in the book. I guarantee you that stuff.
Oh yeah, mm-hmm.
I gotta get those books.
Those books are fantastic. By the way,
now that I've seen the both director's cut, I do have to, because Charles did something very smart that he shared with me backstage. He took notes. I did, you know, so he got a lot more details on it than I did. So this movie, definitely, we're going to have to see it at least 2 or 3 more times each.
Yeah, we're definitely going to, and that's what I want to do in the next one here because we need to wrap it up. But I got the notes. What I did was I watched both of them, and everything that I didn't see in the PG-13 cuts, I literally just wrote those scenes down. so we can actually go over them and discuss them and digest them in full.
Yeah.
So I'd like
We
to have a
definitely do
stream
that.
where we're talking strictly about Rebel Moon and we can dive right into it and make it a larger segment. Yeah, one of these
Yeah,
days. So
for
yeah,
sure.
absolutely. So